Thinking about starting your dream business in Boston? Well, you're not alone. Boston is packed with business-friendly advantages, which includes a booming innovation economy, prestigious universities that are churning out top talent, and close access to investors who love to support new ideas. In fact, Massachusetts has one of the country's highest rates of successful startups, especially in tech, healthcare, and education. And sure, the cost of living is up there, but the potential rewards make Boston a great spot for bold entrepreneurs. So if you want to be at the center of innovation and opportunity, Boston is a strong bet. But to play the game right, picking the right business name comes first, and it's usually a little bit more complicated than most people think. But before we get right into the name and talk about the intricacies, here's one thing to keep in mind here. So starting your business, it should be exciting, but not overwhelming. But forming an LLC on your own, that can get really confusing fast, with all the legal forms, rules, and easy to miss details. Now, I will walk you through everything you need to know about forming a Boston LLC in this video. But if any part of this feels confusing, I've got a favorite LLC formation service that makes the whole process super simple and stress-free. It's guided, beginner-friendly, and it only costs $39. So if you hit any bumps along the way, go ahead and click right up here to get step-by-step help setting up your LLC the easy way. That all said, let's get back into naming your Boston LLC. So in Massachusetts, your business name has to check a few legal boxes. It must include limited liability company, LLC, or LLC, or something similar at the end. And it has to be completely unique so that there's zero confusion with any other business that's in the state. And here's a classic trap too. Don't use terms like Inc. or Corp. Because those are only for corporations, and your application will actually get rejected if you try to slip them in. Now, the catch here with the name, just tweaking, punctuation or making small grammar changes, it really won't get you around the rules. Your name has to be truly unique. And before you drop cash on, websites, logos, or business cards, make sure that you check your name's availability using the Massachusetts Corporations Division Business Entity Search, which, by the way, is linked to below in the description of this video, along with every other resource that we mentioned. Now, it's a quick step that will save you a ton of headaches if what you wanted is taken. Okay, so assuming that now you've kind of snagged the perfect name and you got that all figured out, right? We're making some progress here. So let's talk about picking a registered agent, which is really just as important and could save you from some big time hassles down the road. So every Boston LLC needs a registered agent, and this is the person or company that's officially in charge of handling legal documents, tax notices, and official state mail for your business. Now, under Massachusetts law, your registered agent must be a resident of the state or a company that's authorized to operate there with a physical street address. No PO boxes allowed. Now, you can be your own agent. That is possible, but keep in mind that your name and address, they become part of public record, and your privacy will basically be destroyed. Plus, you'll need to be available in person at that address during all standard business hours. That's why so many LLC owners, they really prefer professional registered agent services. Now, personally, my preferred provider, which I've used myself in the past, is Northwest Registered Agent. They're really known for their strong privacy protections, excellent customer support, and straightforward pricing. Now, if you hire them to help form your LLC, the cost is only $39, which is lower than a lot of competitors. And get this, you can actually use their business address on your public filings to keep your home address private and cut down on spam mail too. Now, if you want to check them out at any point, just go ahead and click right up here to learn more. Now, whether you're handling this yourself or bringing in help, your registered agent, it must be locked in before you file any LLC paperwork with the state. So up next here, we'll walk through the nuts and bolts of actually making your LLC official in the state. So here is a big step, which is filing your certificate of organization with the Secretary of the Commonwealth. Now, in Boston, this paperwork makes your LLC a legal entity. It lists your business name, how it's managed, your agent info, and your principal office address. Now, filing costs $500, which is a bit pricey, but truthfully, you really don't have any other choice. Now, you can file online or by mail, and approvals do come pretty quickly, unless you spring for expedited processing, which can be even quicker. But after you get approval, your LLC will be legit with the state. But you aren't done here. Let's go over why every Boston business, in my opinion, should have an operating agreement, even though this is technically optional. So Massachusetts doesn't legally require an operating agreement, but having one is smart business. So this is your company's rule book, right? It spells out who owns the LLC, how profits and losses are going to be divided, what happens if a member leaves, and how decisions get made day to day. Now, if you skip it, state rules will fill the gaps, and those default rules may not fit your needs. And banks and often landlords, they want to see an operating agreement before they'll even work with you. Plus, it can help you avoid partner disputes by putting everyone's roles and expectations in black and white. Now, you don't need to file this with the state because, like I said, it's not required. You want to get everyone to sign it, though, and get a copy for your records and keep a hold of that. And in terms of writing this, really not that big of a deal. There's a lot of templates online. You can also use an AI platform if you'd like. Now, up next here, let's break down how to get an EIN, because without this, you can't open a bank account, you can't hire employees, or really keep the IRS off your back. All right, so if you want to open a business bank account or hire anyone, even part-time, you'll need an EIN. So this is the employer identification number from the IRS. It's like a social security number for your company, right? And it's really needed for taxes, payroll, and really most business banking. You can get it free and online through the IRS website. You don't need to pay any third parties for this either, right? It's super easy to get. It takes probably about 5 to 10 minutes. You go to the IRS website, you fill out the form, and then right after you press submit and you're done, it'll end up populating it right on the screen there, and then you get a letter sent in the mail too. So definitely take the time to go to the website and fill that all out, just so that you have that on record, because you definitely need it. Now, Boston, from here, they are sticklers for paperwork. So next, you'll want to stay on top of your compliance, and we definitely need to cover that. So let's get into it. So Boston LLCs have a few key hoops to jump through to stay legal and open for business. So first off, Massachusetts, they don't require a general state business license for LLC. But the city of Boston, it will expect you, to have a business certificate, which is sometimes called a DBA, if you're operating under a different name from your business. Now, also for brick and mortar spaces, you'll usually need local permits like a certificate of occupancy to confirm your location, meets zoning and safety codes as well. Now, if you're working from home, you may need a home occupation permit from the city too. Now, next, you want to make sure that you check if your business type needs any special city or state licenses too. Things like restaurants, salons, contractors, daycare centers, or really anything with health or safety regulations. Now, for example here, if you're running a restaurant in Boston, it does require a license, food service permits, and usually a fire inspection. Now, Boston's licensing steps, that can take a few weeks, so make sure that you jump right on this after forming your LLC if you need it. And don't forget to register for a Massachusetts sales tax permit if you sell anything taxable. This part here is going to be handled with the State Department of Revenue. Now, up next, let's break down the costs from state fees to city permits and what you can expect once you're actually rolling. Okay, so here's what you'll typically spend as a Boston LLC owner in your first year. And then we'll get into, again, what you'll need every year thereafter. So first year startup costs. So your certificate of organization, that's a filing fee, that's $500, required one-time state fee to form your LLC. Then we have the registered agent service. This is optional, but highly recommended. $39 if you use Northwest Registered Agent, which again helps with the actual LLC formation for that price. But the good news here too is that your first year of registered agent service is completely for free. And then of course we have the miscellaneous permits or professional licenses. That could be as low as $0 or upwards of $500. And it really just depends on what your business is doing. But your estimated first year total in most cases, right around $600 to all the way up to $1,200 in most cases. Most businesses will fit in there. And the higher end obviously depends on, if you need licenses and all these other permits and things. Next, let's go ahead and talk about the ongoing annual costs. So the annual report, that's $500 per year. That's required due every year by your formation anniversary. Then the Boston Business Certificate Renewal, that's $65 to $100. That's due every 4 years in Boston. And then we have a registered agent fee. That's $125 per year if you use Northwest Registered Agent to stay in compliance. From there, industry-specific permits and licenses, again, it could be $0, could be upwards of $500. Again, it just depends on your industry and your business type. But overall, your estimated ongoing total is probably $600 to over $1,300 per year. Again, really just depending on what it is that you're doing. Now, to be honest, Boston is on the pricier side, but the upside is real. And if you keep things organized, you get solid legal protection, access to top talent, and a spot in one of the most dynamic business markets in the entire country. Now, again, to help with this, I do advise you to use a service like Northwest Registered Agent, which again, you can click right up here to check out, as they really will help you stay in compliance year after year while you focus on the most important thing, which is running a profitable business. Now, if you have any questions for me or you're a little bit confused about the process, no problem at all. Go ahead and drop me a comment below, and I will do my absolute best to help you out as soon as possible. But as always, I want to thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.